is Coach Steve, the affordable life coach. If you want to give a free complimentary consultation a try, the email's in the description, and then it's ridiculously affordable afterwards. And everybody benefits for at least giving life coaching a try. Very interesting event happened to me, and I always love learning and growing and seeing how I can evolve, reflecting upon the mistakes that I made, and then using that experience to make me a better person. And when I'm coaching clients, the coaching focus is on what's within our control and not blaming other people and not justifying our bad behavior or our unconscious behavior because of the other person. And when you start living like this, your life is so much better. You're so much more empowered. And when I'm coaching clients, this is like a new way of living, a new mindset. And a lot of them will tell me, oh my gosh, this is very challenging, or I have so much progress and work to do. And I tell them, look at it as an opportunity, as an adventure. A lot of people will feel the need to go travel to exotic places or buy fancy cars or and have these heightened experiences jumping out of planes and adrenaline junkies. There's nothing wrong with that. Or even playing video games. We're looking for that rush, that high, that sense of feeling alive. While there's nothing wrong with those, there's something so much simpler at our disposal. Every day we can wake up and look at life as an opportunity and an adventure. And how am I going to grow? How am I going to evolve? What am I going to learn? And it's exciting. And what mistakes am I going to make? And not feeling beating ourselves up about the mistakes or not needing to defend ourselves when people point out our mistakes, but looking at it as we're growing, we're evolving, we're learning, and that's fun. And so the experience where I learned from my mistakes, and it was very adventurous because, if you've watched my videos, I'm a big advocate, and this is something I work on with clients, is social stretching. Doing things that make you feel uncomfortable and s- not censoring ourselves so much. Now, there's certain situations where it's just better and wiser not to say anything. So, as I was on a walk with my dog, met me and another woman who also has a dog, and that we know each other. We were just standing around talking, and as we were talking, we saw a mother and her young daughter, probably about 9, 10 years old, walking their dog, and it looked like the dog did something that the little girl didn't like, and the little girl took her knee and drove it into the dog hard, and the dog like was pushed to the side. And both of us, the woman I was talking to, were in shock that a little girl would treat her dog so harshly, and the mother didn't see it. So my initial reaction is, don't say anything, it's not my business, let it go. But I don't want to live like that. If I see something wrong, I do want to say something. But there are some caveats that I will mention. The other thing that I also learned from that experience is how easily it is for us to self-discount. Because if I didn't have a second witness that also saw the same thing, and she had like a reaction like, "Oh my gosh," like she was startled by this little girl being harsh or kneeing the dog so strongly, or kneeing a dog at all for that matter. Because if I didn't have that witness, one, two people, you feel more courageous, you feel more emboldened, you feel that you have some support. So that helps. to know that you do have support. And that's one thing that we do in coaching is you have support. And we role play these types of situations, these difficult and uncomfortable conversations. And it's a lot of fun, even though it can be a little bit, it can be a lot outside of our comfort zone. And if I didn't have that second witness, it's so easy for our safety protective part of our brain, and really it's our fearful brain, justify doing something that is safe and comfortable and easy, and it will rationalize it in order to so that we feel better about really being cowardly. And my mind after this happened was thinking, oh my gosh, I could have so easily not have or doubted myself. I think that's the big thing, and not said anything. Well, oh, maybe what I saw wasn't as bad as I thought it was, or maybe it was an accident. But I knew what I saw, and having that second confirmation really reaffirmed it. And so it's really important to believe your own eyes. This day in our modern culture and politics and society, we are being taught not to believe our own eyes, that our own eyes are and ears are lying to us. And it's so easy to get gaslit and to doubt yourself. So it's helpful to journal about it, and it's helpful to self-reflect, and it's helpful to write these things down and track them so you trust what you've seen and heard, or in situations that you can record it. And so after that, it was like I'm a Christian, and so I pray, read the Bible, and the Holy Spirit lives in believers. And it was just something that what we lack the courage to do and say, God can give us the strength and power to do something that is fearful. And I don't, something just came over me and I said something. So and they were a little bit, they were a distance away. And I said to the mom, you might just want to tell your daughter not to, I think I said, kick your dog. Um, and then the mom started off, no, my daughter did kick the dog. And I said, yes, your daughter did hit the dog. And then the mom said, no, my daughter did not kick the dog. And then, very interestingly enough, I appreciate the woman I was with probably didn't want to get involved, didn't want to say anything because that's natural. Most people don't most people want to avoid a confrontation. And she spoke up and she said, yes, your daughter did kick the dog. And the mom then raised the defensiveness up then to the next level. My daughter did not kick the dog, and she wouldn't do that. And she got really angry with us. And it was like, hey, don't shoot the messenger. We're just letting you know what we observed. And then the mom like kept on walking, but kept on like talking back at us, saying, just mind your own business. And so then I said, you should be thankful that, and the mom started getting heated, like really upset. Then she said, I said, she said, mind your own business. And then I said to her, I said like something like, be thankful that, we care about your dog. And she said, I can't remember what she said back. She said something back very angrily. And then her daughter started crying. And then she said, and this is what people do, they're the victim and they blame. She said to us, "Look now what you've done. You've made my daughter cry." And I said to her, because of how angry the mom, and here's, I'll tell you some mistakes that I made. And here's how, uh, because the mom got so angry, the daughter started crying and blamed me. And then my response was, by seeing the mom's anger and short fuse and defensiveness, I said, your daughter didn't learn that behavior. I said, your daughter had to learn that behavior from somewhere. And then this upset her even more. And then finally she just walked away and we parted ways. And I could feel, and this is something that when I'm working with clients one-on-one and we do social stretching, maybe not to this degree, but we do social challenges and we role play them. And one of the things that clients oftentimes tell me, or even sometimes I'll give clients, social stretching goals, just random social stretching goals. And they'll say they'll be really fearful and afraid beforehand, but after they do it, they feel so alive and they feel emboldened, they feel confident, they feel courageous, they feel a sense of accomplishment, overcoming a fear. And I'm not a person to say things in public situations. I just really let it go. And because usually these things escalate and there's not a good outcome. And I generally say, tend to mind my own business, but there are situations where I have to say something. I remember I was at a lake and there was this family with two or three kids and these dads in the shallow the lake, like like it was a beach, and these dads where kids play, people have picnics and set up their towels like a regular beach. And these dads were fishing these little small fish and pulling them out, and then they were like leaving them out, to suffocate, and they were treating them really harshly and poorly, and they were stuffing them into the small bucket. And my wife and I were looking at this and like knowing, how you see a situation, this is not right. And there was a sign that there was no fishing on the beach. And like I said, they said they were catching these fish and killing, or keeping them alive, but they weren't keeping them alive in a very, humane way, because uh, so a lot of them did die, and because they would jump out of the bucket. And the pe I noticed there was a group of people looking at this at the beach, and nobody said anything. And I felt bad for all these little fish that they were yanking out of the lake and then treating very inhumanely. And on top of it, there was a sign that saying no fishing allowed. And I didn't say anything. And I regretted that. And that happened years ago. And I so deeply regretted it. And it's something that I really learned from it, because I beat myself up because I felt like I took the cowardly approach, didn't say anything, and these fish suffered for unnecessarily for it. And what I didn't know what to do in that situation. I would know what to do now. I would definitely say something. My first line of action would be to call someone to see if they can, there's somebody in authority, whether it's security or somebody who works there, and for them to take care of it. And that's what I eventually did, but I waited too long. My hesitation cost me and cost the fish, because by the time someone came out to let these people know that work there, to let these people know that it was security, that these people can't fish there and they need to put all those fish back, they were gone. It was probably by like 5 minutes, maybe even 3 minutes. And so like, trust, I learned trust my intuition, trust my instinct, and say something when you see wrong doing, when you see things that you don't like. Even in our cultural and political climate, people don't speak up. They don't, they might not agree and they think what's happening is wrong, but fear keeps people silent. Fear of getting canceled, fear of getting punished, fear of losing their job, fear of getting judged by family and friends. And that's what that's human nature. And we don't feel good about ourselves. And one of the other things we work on in coaching is clients that don't feel good, don't like who they are, don't have a deep sense of self-worth and confidence. And that's because if we play it safe in life, we're not going to grow and we're not going to like the man or woman in the mirror. How can you? Nobody respects a coward. And so, how can we respect ourselves when we're going through life silent, not speaking up, not making our voice heard? And it's really the tipping point when you start saying things, and you could start with small, and you start feeling bolder, more courageous, and more confident and more comfortable, because you're doing uncomfortable things. So they eventually become comfortable, and then you really feel confident, and people don't cross your boundaries and they respect you. People don't respect cowards and fearful people and people pleasers. They just don't. So I learned from that lesson, even though it was a year ago, that also inspired me. And someone recently said through through my wife, someone told her that God gives us courage and that we don't have to rely on ourselves. And that's what happened in this situation is I brought it, I said something, and here's what I learned from that experience is it's okay to say something, but if you see the person is just not receptive, is getting angry, getting upset, getting defensive, the message is not going to get through. And then there's the danger of things escalating. And the person could have a weapon, the person could be violent, the person could assault you, or there could be consequences if it's a neighbor or someone in your neighborhood. You don't want to have an escalate confrontation and feel uncomfortable to go walking in your own neighborhood is which now I feel because I didn't let it go. And that was my mistake. And for example, with those two guys that were fishing where they weren't supposed to be, I would say something, and if they said, it's none of your business, what are you going to do about it? Let it go. I'm not going to escalate it and, call police or call someone else to address it. And that's the first line of defense. It's just to call somebody else. I was in, this was a while ago, I was in a sauna, and people use their cell phones in the sauna and they're listening to music and people are talking on their phone. And there was a guy, and I really respect him because he was a small guy, and there was another big buff guy who was having a phone call conversation in the sauna, and everyone else is trying to relax. But this younger, smaller guy said something, and the guy got defensive, but eventually he stopped uh, talking on his phone. And I'm like, it's not, some things are not worth it. In that situation, it's not worth it to me because I see how defensive and upset people get. Just go, it's better just for me to go. If I were in that situation again, tell somebody that works there and let them know. So you want to do this in a wise way, but sometimes you just don't have that option. And this time I didn't. So when I saw what the key for me in this story is when I saw the woman did not believe two people because the other woman also said something. No, because the mother said, no, she didn't do that. And the other woman said, yes, she did do that. And the woman still denied it. I should have let it go. Just keep my mouth quiet. Say, so uh, my apologies if I overstep my bounds and um, not say anything more. But my replies, even though I felt very justified in what I said and how I responded, and I was feeding off of her energy, which I never want to do because now I'm blaming her. I want to be in control of my own emotional regulation. And when I get in, so we have the green zone, calm and relax. We have the yellow zone, a little bit agitated, orange zone, starting to get, and that's where she was in the red zone. I was probably in the orange zone. Uh, but she just really kind of uh, lost it and got really, really aggravated and angry and upset. And all I've said is, I was just bringing something to her attention. So we want to, if we see people start escalating, like when her first response, she went to yellow, the next response, she went to orange, and then towards the end, she was in the red zone. And that's when her daughter started crying. And then she had the nerve to blame it on me. But okay. So the lesson there is, yeah, if someone's not open, receptive, let it go. Or if I, have an opportunity, if it's somebody and you see regularly, revisit it at another time when the person is back in the green zone. But there is no point in benefit, not only in situations with people I don't know, but even with situations with people I do know. It it's I don't want to disrupt my inner calm and inner peace. I want to be a man who doesn't let his frustrations and anger control him. That because that is not a healthy, stable person you want to be, and it doesn't set a good example, and people lose respect for you. And a lot of times people will escalate and use anger. And there are rare occasions where anger is justified, but I prefer connection and I want to reach the person when I'm talking to them. And this has come up in my coaching sessions because I'm very honest and direct in the way I speak to clients because that's the most beneficial method in which to coach someone. It's to tell them the truth, not in a harsh or aggressive or a mean way, but just, hey, here is what I'm observing. And there's really the movie A Few Good Men. There's really a lot of truth uh, to that. Jack Nicholson's character said, "You can't handle the truth." There are so many people that just can't handle the truth, and I've seen some clients just get so angry at me because I'm telling them the truth. And the anger exposes that what I'm saying is true. Because if someone says something to you, like someone says, "Oh, Steve, you're baldy and you don't have hair and you lost your hair." I'm like, "Yeah, that's true. Okay. It's not going to affect me because I'm not insecure about it. I know what you're saying." Or if they were to attack something, attack me, my coaching style or my coaching in general. I've been doing this for 14 and a half years. And I've been involved in this since I was a teenager, self-development and studying psychology. And it's not gonna it doesn't affect me. Now, if they give me constructive feedback or it's something that I feel, hey, maybe they have a good point, then I'm receptive. But we only react in an exaggerated, angry manner when we know something is true. Like that woman, all she probably knows that she has challenges, or her daughter has challenges controlling her temper, because it was very evident her mother has challenges controlling her temper. And she was also probably very sensitive that she doesn't want to be judged or looked at negatively of having a daughter who would treat the dog harshly. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Maybe it was a one-off and the daughter never does anything like that. And that was the first time. I doubt it, but it could be true. But the point is, when I act out in a defensive way, or when I lose my emotional regulation and I get angry, or I get defensive, or I get really critical, I have something to look at. And one of my favorite forms of doing that is journaling, or having a coach for a lot of people, having a therapist is, although therapists tend to be a little bit more gentle and passive and less engaging, but or if you have a really good friend that it can give you some real honest feedback and process what happens and how we can evolve and learn and grow from it. And it feels wonderful. So what happens is it takes a while. We'll go through a cycle. So I'll go through a cycle where I'll evaluate what happened. I'll self-reflect. I'll look at the mistakes that I made, acknowledge them, beat myself up, be really hard for maybe, a half a day, sometimes a day. The inner critic or the judge is really hard on me on the mistake. And I use that as growth opportunity and listen to the feedback and then evolve. And so the cherry on this story is today when I went for a walk, one of my pet peeves is, no pun intended, is people that don't clean up after their dog poops. It's just disgusting. And I've done a lot of work because there are a lot of people who just don't care and will leave their dog's poop without a care in the world. I've seen it done at parks. I've stepped in dog poop, and it really frustrates me. And I used to blame the other people, and now I go, no, this is me. I'm in control of my reactions, and I need to have realistic expectations. And the realistic expectation is there are a lot of people who don't clean up after their dog. So when I went on a walk this morning, there was a guy who had his dog, and he let his dog off the leash and just like kept walking, and he didn't look after his dog, and it was in like a grassy area, and his dog pooped and he didn't see it, and I saw it, and I'm like, what do I do in this situation? Do I go run after him and let him know? Do I, bring it to his attention? Hey, you need to go, your dog pooped, you should really go back and clean it up. And then again, I just get guidance from within, and I'm like, no, you know what the right thing to do here is clean up the dog poop. And that's what I did. And then I said, I'm going to go say something to him. Now, because I've been practicing, and this is what I work on in myself and with my clients, I've been practicing courageous conversations, social stretching, um, not people pleasing. And people pleasing is really a selfish act because we want to please ourselves. We don't want people to be upset or angry with us. So I went within for guidance, and they said, I'm going to go say something to him. And I went up, and I learned from the last experience, it's better I don't, if there's not a distance, I do it, closer, because it can sound like I'm yelling. The person could take it like I'm yelling at them when I'm just trying to speak loudly so they can hear me. And so I went up to him. I said, hey, I just wanted to let you know your dog did poop back there. And then he said, um, oh, well, whereabouts was it? And I said, don't worry about it. I cleaned it up. And I can't even remember if he thanked me. And if he did thank me, it was very minimal. Like if someone cleaned up after my dog poop, I would feel really bad, and I'd be profusely thankful that a stranger picked up after my dog when I should have done it myself. And and that was it. And he was very polite and cordial. I was very polite and cordial, and we just went on our way. And I think that way of handling it hopefully is going to make him more self-aware than if I were to criticize or attack him or tell him he needs to do X, Y, and Z. And so I that's the beauty when I say life is an adventure, and it might seem small to most people, but it was so exciting to take the mistake I made and turn it into something positive, and then finding an opportunity to grow and utilize the lessons learned and successfully apply it and feel that sense of accomplishment that, hey, I did something that normally, if I didn't practice these things, would be out of my comfort zone. And normally I would never pick up after another person's dog. It's just, I don't know, to me, it's kind of gross. I don't mind picking up after my dog. Um, but picking up after another dog, it's not my job, it's not my responsibility, and it's the people's responsibility to keep an eye on their dog, and if their dog does poop, to clean it up. And so what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, that's the beautiful thing in life is, yeah, you can be hard and judgmental about yourself, but learn, grow, evolve, and look at life as a never-ending opportunity to just become a better version of yourself. And you start feeling a much higher level of contentment, joy, and peace when we're not constantly fighting with the world or angry at the world. And now with politics and culture divisions, everyone, one side more so than the other, but it's just so angry. Why? You only suffer when you're angry. Anger only burns the person that holds it. So if you found value in this, please share this video, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and like and comment. I really do appreciate your comment, and you can share your stories of social stretching or some of your fears of when you've avoided social stretching and how you felt when you didn't say the thing that was on your heart. If you want to also support the channel, there's a PayPal link in this subscription. Even the small amount means so much to me. It lets me know you find value with these videos. It could be $1 a month, $5 a month, or a one-time donation. It really means a lot to me and inspires me to continue making the videos. It gives me that sense of like accountability. And if you want coaching, I encourage, like I said at the beginning, give it a try. The complimentary consultation, then it's ridiculously affordable afterwards. Hey, I appreciate it if you made it to the end of this video. I much prefer these long form videos than long form and free flowing videos than short form, highly edited and high production values. I just like to keep things simple, and I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching. And until next time.